Hey, hello everybody. Nick here. A little short Tuesday Devo for you. I've been thinking about this passage in Hebrews today. If you think about the flow of Hebrews a little bit, the first 9.5 chapters of Hebrews is all about how Jesus is better than the old system, than Old Testament, old law, temple, priesthood, sacrificial system, the law, all that kind of stuff, and how Jesus has fulfilled all that kind of stuff. And the author, the writer of Hebrews, we don't know who that was, but the writer of Hebrews gets to the middle of chapter 10, 9.5 chapters into his argument, and says, verse 19, therefore. So it's like, I see it as this preacher kind of getting to the end of his like deep theological point and like taking a breath, like, all right, so. And he's going to sort of summarize it up in a couple verses here, but he's gonna, starting in verse 22, I'm saying he, by the way, it could be a female. We don't know for sure who wrote it, but the author gets to verse 22, and he's gonna do this thing where he gives 5 what we call hortatory subjunctives. They're like these, there's like these commands to us as a group, and they all start with this English phrase, let us. And the first one's in verse 22. It says, let us draw near to God with a sincere heart and with full assurance that faith brings, having our hearts sprinkled to cleanse us from a guilty conscience, and having our bodies washed with purified water. So that's the first one. That one's kind of wordy. Number 2, let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess, for he who promised is faithful. Verse 24, this is the third one. And let us consider how we may spur one another on towards love and good deeds. And then 25 is another one. It says, and let us not give up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing, but let us encourage one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. And those last couple there, particularly verse 24, 23. I'm saying the wrong ones. 25, let us not give up meeting together as some are in the habit of doing. I was processing this with my Teen Challenge clients today, and just the importance of meeting together as a church and encouraging one another and spurring one another on towards love and good deeds. I don't know about you, but that's almost always my experience. I always feel better after being at church, seeing people that I love, people that I care about, worshiping together, sharing scripture together, sometimes taking the sacraments together. Such a big part of my social network is at church. The people that I love most in the world are at church. And so I'm missing it in this time of COVID, in this time of the pandemic. And so I like how the writer of Hebrews reminds us, let us not give up meeting together. And I know we can't do that physically for right now, but can we make sure to do that digitally? Can we make sure to reach out to people and like more than we normally would, right? We get into the normal pattern of life and we see each other sometimes and we text people sometimes and we connect with people sometimes. But I think now more than ever during this time, we need to be intentional to reach out, connect with people, do FaceTime like this with people if they need, but just do whatever we can to connect with people, because that's what the writer of Hebrews reminds us, that because of everything Jesus does. Isn't that interesting that he's essentially rooting these let us take away points in the fact that Jesus is the fulfillment of everything. Because Jesus is the fulfillment of everything in the Jewish system, and because he's started this new covenant for us, let's not give up meeting together. Let's continue to get together. That's part of what it means to be the church. So chew on that for a little bit, my friends. Reach out to somebody today. Love you, miss you. See you soon.